Use headphones for best. For your fantastic support. Hi, welcome to another video. That you're all doing well and that you're staying safe and healthy. Today I would like to draw a map of actually I've had the idea to do this for a really long time now, but somehow I found it too interesting. I did some research for Mexico. I just couldn't stop. I could really dig into Wikipedia, just find so much information about ancient. It's just so much, so I almost couldn't stop. But then I realized today is May, so it's a really important day for Mexico, I guess. Able, I think, to publish this video today already. It kind of made me to finally record this, and I hope you enjoy. I'll start. I prepared this canvas some week ago. But now I'll start with the coast, so I can do the coast. I can follow these lines and visible coastline later. So we have the Yucatan Peninsula here to the south. We have us here between the Atlantic and the Pacific. And then actually to the north west, all the way to this corner here, Baja California Peninsula. This is the southernmost, I think. When you reach the border to Guatemala, this must be the most southernmost tip of the mainland. Quite complicated borders here. Yeah, it's more to the north. Yucatan. So I guess this is quite accurate. And here it's narrow, but then it can't be too narrow here, because here it's basically we're running a lot. Need room for much information here. A bit more like this. And I'm not going to follow this line exactly. It's not even just one line, as you can see. It's a lot of parallel lines. This makes sense. I'm not super happy with this. Maybe I have to sheet a little, because I really want to have room for this won't even the entire north of the country. So maybe I, if you don't mind, make this area a little bit small. If you like maps, don't like what I'm saying. This is the border of South America. And this is one of the most complicated shapes, or I think quite complex. But you can see this is Mexico, right? I guess. These are some borders between states. There are actually a lot. United States of Mexico. One state and one federal district. Show them all here. This map. And I will show you some rivers as well. since the canvas is blued for the sketch already is in white this time. California, Sur. In Spanish. For California. And quite big islands here. I think this could be Mexico. Tiburon. Quite big island. It's called Isla Ángel de la Guarda. Here we have a small bay. Archipelago. The Pacific coast. Eastern Tehuantepec. And Baja California. All the way to Tijuana, US. And here we have another quite big island called Cedros. And we continue from the isthmus, but now on the Gulf of Mexico side, the Atlantic side. And here we have Texas, a detailed map of Texas and these islands here. Remember them. Again from the isthmus of the Tehuantepec coast, or the Mexican Gulf coast, and the Yucatan. Look at that. And here we have a quite big island, Cozumel, quite a small island, Islamo. And that is basically the coast, I think. You know the coast here, even though it's not the Mexican coast. We're done with the first step. Let's do some borders. To do green borders this time. Let's see. Lines, because there's so many borders here, all the 31 states and one federal district. I mean, it takes a bit more time, I guess. But if I do the state borders, I mean the border between the US in dotted line. Let's see. And this border river, Rio Bravo del Norte, Rio Grande in English, all the way to Ciudad Juarez, other side of the border, and then the river here, more to the north, but then the border, horizontal lines. Colorado River, and eventually to the Pacific coast. Then we have the border to Guatemala. And Belize. Or Belize, I'm not sure actually how to pronounce it. And now again, how to continue. I think before I do all the states, I should do some physics, maybe mountains, maybe lake. And I have to choose color, of course. I think this light orange could do for some of the features, and be perfect for the mountain ranges actually. We have a mountain range called Sierra Madre Occidental. I think, yeah, Occidental. Occidental actually means western. So the western Sierra Madre mountain range. Very long mountain range. It's a very mountainous country, Mexico. And to the east, we have Sierra Madre Oriental. Oriental means east. Now, let's see. Because I have to leave the coasts, quite big areas. along the coasts, flat plains. Something like this. Not sure if this area here is better. And then we have the highest mountain range with the highest peaks, the Trans-Mexican Volcanic Belt. So it crosses the entire continent here. A lot of volcanoes and mountain peaks. Now I have to be a bit careful because it really, extend all the way to the coast here actually. I think I can do this. Also we have Sierra Madre del Sur, not as mountainous as the Trans-Mexican Volcanic Belt. And I think Baja California is not if you compare to the other mountain ranges. But I mean, it's not completely symbols for mountains here. But an area that is very good. So here there will not be any. Okay. With this color. And yeah, I haven't showed you this area between the mountain ranges. Actually is a very, very large. The central Mexican plateau. I'm not sure how to present that. I just leave it like this. So, some rivers. You can start with Rio Bravo del Norte, because it just follows the border. Now, this color didn't turn out super well actually on the blue canvas. I think so. This light. So this is the longest river in Mexico. Maybe you can count this as in Mexico because it's just at the border. There we have another river here, tributary to Rio Bravo del Norte river. Starting here in Sierra Madre. And in Sierra Madre Occidental also, another river, which is flirting in the opposite direction to California. That's the Yaqui River. And then I find super fascinating because they're actually an endorheic basin here in the center of the Mexican plateau and the Chihuahua Desert. In the Sierra Madre Occidental, they actually, as river, actually here in the middle of the plateau. So it's doesn't end up in the rivers too. Then they're called endorheic rivers. And another one is Agua Nava. Should be, let's see, here. So this is a river system. Together they're the longest river systems in Mexico. But rivers. And like what I have a list of the longest, you measure and count them. I also read that Lerma River, longest river in Mexico. And Lerma in the close to Mexico City. Let's see. I would say it starts. Let's say too much in the center here. The Lerma ends up in the biggest lake in Mexico. That's Lake Chapala, Rio Santiago. That ends up from Lake Chapala to the Pacific Ocean. So now we also have a lake on this map. And then we have a river from the Sierra Madre floating in the east, ending up in Gulf of Mexico. And I already mentioned the Colorado River. Floats mostly in the US, but it's actually in Gulf of California. Panuco River, what's this? I don't know if I mentioned that. Panuco. And I would like to add one more river. It ends up here. Here somewhere. Not here, but here. And it's start somewhere in the this time east of Mexico City. And this river is somewhere west of Mexico City. So Mexico City is located here. And I will not show you, there are some rivers here, but yeah. But I mean, they're like, I guess there are some other types of rivers because there are high mountains here. It's very different climate and yeah, landscapes and nature in the Yucatan Peninsula, I guess. Now to the state borders. And I think, but no, actually I will try to use dark blue, so it's almost the same as, but it's just a kind of experimental see, because there will be so many lines here messy, so maybe this could be a solution. And yeah, I think I will continue with dotted lines actually. I just choose a point here to start, and then we have Tamaulipas. Hope this turns out good. Panhandle here. To the north, the Rio Bravo in the narrow. Then we have Nuevo León. Let's see. It's actually hard for me to see what I just drawn. I won't give up. Maybe if I translate. I think it was too difficult actually for me to see what I have been drawing, so I have to my plans a bit. What do you think? Should I use red perhaps? The red. And since it's that I already have the blue dots, because they're almost invisible. Much better. So, Tamaulipas and Nuevo León. We have the border between Coahuila to the north and yeah, this is Coahuila. This is a very big state. It's a Chihuahua. Let's continue moving. So we have Sonora River, and we have a straight line, horizontal line between and Baja California Sur. Following the coast, so I guess this state is basically consists of the coastal plains. To the west it's Durango and like this. I will move a bit more to the south and make some. I would like to do it all the way from the Pacific Ocean to Mexican Gulf as a reference, because it's so messy here and I mess this up otherwise. So I'll start with a line here, and now we're here at the lake. We follow the Lerma River for a while, not too long, and go like this. So here we have our next state, San Luis Potosí. And now to one of the complicated shapes. Almost all the way to Rio Santiago. And there we have and now to the most complicated of them all. is here to the west from the Trans-Mexican volcanic belt. And as you can see, we have a small state here. It's Aguas Calientes. Small state, it's Colima. The Balsas River for a while. Of and the state of Guanajuato and Querétaro. I think it's time to zoom in a bit. Because like I said, it's a lot of detailed information here. I'll start with it of Tlaxcala. I will continue. And like this. So here we have this along the coast of Mexican Gulf. It's Veracruz. It's coastal plains here. Let's see. Here we have Guerrero. And here we have Morelos. The federal district and capital city of also probably could be the most complicated shape. Before it was Jalisco, it could actually be big here, surrounding Mexico City. Here you can now see we have Hidalgo, Puebla, it was a bit complicated, but I'm happy it turned out quite good actually. And now to the easternmost part of the country. Yeah. So, here we have Oaxaca, here we have Chiapas, here we have Tabasco, Yucatan State, and Quintana Roo. This group of islands here, Islas Marias. A couple of islands. So, what to do next? Cities probably. And this pink color. Let's start this part of the country again. And then we have Tamaulipas. Ciudad, located here somewhere. And we have the capital of Nuevo León, Monterrey. And here we have south of Coahuila. And the capital, Chihuahua. Here we have the Yaqui River and the capital, Hermosillo. And here we have to the very north, Baja California. It's Mexicali, just at the border, northern border. And to the very peninsula, California, we have La Paz, Baja California Sur. Durango, with the capital here in the north, somewhere right here. And capital of Sinaloa is actually Culiacan and Zacatecas. Aguascalientes in the capital. San Luis Potosí in the capital, San Luis. Nayarit, that was drawing these shapes, but Nayarit is the state, big, located here. And capital Guadalajara. With the capital Guanajuato. Querétaro state, Querétaro. Let's see. Colima, Michoacán state, Morelia. Morelia should be located here, the mountains. Here somewhere. And the state Mexico with Toluca. And here we have the huge city, Mexico, Ciudad de Mexico. And the capital, Pachuca, located here. Tlaxcala in the state, Tlaxcala. We have the capital, Cuernavaca. We have a capital called Puebla City. And we have Xalapa. See all these capitals of each other actually. Here in the center. And we continue with Guerrero. Here we have Chilpancingo. The capital is also called Oaxaca. Okay. And in Chiapas we have the capital called Tuxtla Gutierrez. Should be located here. In Tabasco we have the capital Villahermosa. And in Campeche we have the capital Campeche, or San Francisco de Campeche. And in Yucatan we have the capital Mérida. You can travel to a lot of ancient archaeological sites in all directions. There are a lot of them here. But maybe I will include those later on this map. Some important archaeological sites. Now we have also, at least the most state, then we have the capital Chetumal. Then we have a lot of big cities that are not, a lot of big cities are capitals in their state, but then I would like to point out just a couple of big cities, a capital city. In Tamaulipas we have a big city to the very north called Reynosa. The Rio Bravo del Norte River, and I'll use white thinner line pen for this. And in Chihuahua state we have Ciudad, here at the corner, El Paso, there. And also California, Pacific coast, we have Tijuana. San Diego on the other side, the border. See now. We have a city in Coahuila, just at the border to go, and that's not the capital, and that's Torreon, located here. And then we have León, biggest Guanajuato state, north of the here. In Guerrero, that's not Chile. It's actually Acapulco here, by the coast. Famous city. And let's see, yeah, just the name of the state. It's also big, but not the capital. Located, it's a very historically important city, Mexico. And also in Quintana Roo, biggest city, Cancun. Northeastern coast of the peninsula. Let me point out some more features. I would like to show you the two highest mountain peaks. That's the Orizaba, or in Nahuatl language, Citlaltépetl. And it should be located in the volcanic belt. So it's the highest mountain. It's 5.6 thousand, or 18,000 feet. And it should be located in Puebla and Veracruz. So here we have highest mountain peak. Then we have another famous mountain peak, also an active volcano. By the way, Citlaltépetl, it's a Nahuatl mountain. Citral is a star and Tepetl is mountain. It's a language that was used in the Aztec Empire. Yeah, we have another mountain peak located really close to Mexico City. You know, Mexico City is here. The biggest mountain peak in Mexico. Popocatépetl, 2,500 meters high, or 11,000 feet. Popoca means Tetl, means mountain again, so the smoking mountain. And it should be located at the border between Mexico State. Maybe I have to do some smoking away. And I would also like to show you some archaeological sites. There are so many, but at least a few of them. I'll continue using this thin pen to do that. Let's see. We have a really old civilization here, located mostly here, in the southern part of Iraq's culture and formative era. So it's one of the earliest known civilizations in pre-Columbian Mesoamerica. And the Olmecs are now famous for these giant sculptures of heads, faces, stone. And I read about a capital here, or an ancient city. So to me it sounds like a new name, not probably what it is by the Olmecs, but anyway. So we can change to another color. Wasn't super visible actually, but it doesn't. And then yeah, and this this culture was flourishing around 100 BCE. So it's a really long time ago. We also have the Teotihuacan, and Teotihuacan had a really huge city back in the days in pre-Columbian Americas. I read there were like 125 to 200,000 inhabitants, and it was located quite close to modern day Mexico City. But it was to northeast of Mexico City, so it should be here somewhere. The city with pyramids in the world, the Pyramid of the Sun and the Pyramid of the Moon, and the Avenue of the. So I think the city was called Teotihuacan, or if it was Teotihuacan. And this was in this culture flourished in 100 BC, 150 CE, so about 2,000 years ago. 150 CE, this city or this civilization replaced by another civilization. I mean, not completely destroyed, but it's called like the Teotihuacan collapse, 250 CE. Let's see what we can talk about more. Called Monte Alban. It's actually now part of Oaxaca city. And in Monte Alban we had the Zapotec 700 BC to 700 and Mixtec culture, and the city called Tilantongo. So sometime around 900 CE, 121 CE. And the Tilantongo city was located a bit more to the west. And then the Mixtec also constructed parts of Zapotec. No, sorry, they kind of took over it from the Zapotecs at some point. There are a lot of interesting places. A lot of them are actually located here. But also we have Teotitlán del Valle of Oaxaca. So perhaps it's a city. Not sure when, but it was later refounded as a Spanish 1527. Yeah, then we have the Tarascan state, really huge state here to the west. In what's now most of Michoacán, actually is a Nahuatl name for Tarascan state. And the capital in this empire, it was located quite but more to the west. Here, that's in capital of Tarascan state, also called. And yeah, this empire was when the Spanish arrived in 1519. The biggest empire, Aztecs Empire, located just exactly at the same point I'm sitting today, and that was Tenochtitlan in the valley. And here by then, the Texcoco Lake, and this fantastic city was built in the lake with bridges. It was like an island with a lot of to the mainland. Completely destroyed when Cortés arrived in 15. Yeah, he arrived in 1590 here to Veracruz, and 2 years later, in 1521, the Tenochtitlan completely destroyed. Tarascan state, and this empire here, 1530 actually. That was 9 more years. The Toltecs. Situated, I'm not sure. They should have a legendary capital, or a capital called Tula, that capital Tolan, mentioned in the literature, the pre-Columbian literature, Mesoamerica. And this was located places here. But I think what's now Hidalgo state, somewhere here. Tula, classic era, so around 900 to 8 CE. But it could be founded as early as 750, I read somewhere. And this was the ancient cultures located here, the Trans-Mexican volcanic belt, and here, west of the isthmus. But then we also have the Maya civilizations. And in the Maya culture was actually to the south in classic times. So before there are a lot of remains and archaeological Maya sites here, this area, also in Guatemala. But then something happened around 900 CE, like Maya collapse, and these yeah, so the Mayan citizens in the southern Maya lowlands were about that. So I guess there were some other tribes, cultures coming here from. And then of Maya cities here, or the cities that the Spanish found when they arrived in 1590. So there were between Spanish and Maya culture. But I can show you some of the southern Maya lowlands sites as well in today's Chiapas. And we also have Palenque, a bit further north. Pomona in eastern Tabasco. And Calakmul in southern, the northern archaeological sites that's more recent. If I made these like round dots, I maybe can. We have Edsna in Campeche as well. We have actually here on an island outside the coast, Isla de Shaina, or Jaina, Maya archaeological site. And like I mentioned before, around Merida we have a lot. We have Uxmal, Mayapan, Chichen Itza, super famous. Also today it's one of the newest pyramids and temples. A lot of variety in architecture, different epochs. And we have north of Merida. Quite complicated. Shelton. In Quintana Roo, we have Coba, and we have Tulum at the coast. And besides, I think it kind of makes sense there, not as busy cities. Let's zoom out. And yeah, like I said, here we have Veracruz, where 1519, and totally changed the world, of course. Well, if you don't count the Vikings, like the Vikings turned back again, disappeared somehow, but yeah, this became New Spain. The colonial era began. It lasted between 21. New Spain was even bigger than today's Mexico, so it was California and huge parts of what's today United States of America, and New Spain all the way to northern South America. But then in 15 was the starting point for the Mexican War of Independence Revolution. 1821. Did I say? In 1821, Mexico was independent. This War of Independence, like I said, started by someone called Miguel Hidalgo y Costilla. He gathered an army and held his state in 10. He's recognized as the father of the nation of Mexico. And actually, this state Hidalgo, it's here. Don Miguel. And then we also have the leaders of the Mexican War of Independence, and also the second president of Mexico. And that was Vicente. And Guerrero was given name for the state of Guerrero. That is the state located here. And then we also have a person called José María Morelos y Pavón, the Mexican War of Independence. And he named this Morelos, where are you? This little state. And yeah, since it's the 5th, I would also like to mention this person, General Ignacio Zaragoza. And because the 5th of May is a date observed to commemorate the army's victory over the French Empire at the Battle of Puebla in 1806. This was under the leadership of General Ignacio Zaragoza. The Battle of Puebla took place in Puebla City, 62, May 5th. And yeah, I also read that about Mexico City, that since it was constructed, the city was built at the place where the lake was located, and the whole city had Tenochtitlan. That's why Mexico City is constantly sinking, and 15 inches a year, that's 31 centimeters. And also in a whole century it will sink 10 meters, or 33 feet. Yeah, it's basically built. And it's a huge city with 21 million in there. One of the largest cities in the world. The second largest city in Mexico is Guadalajara, with 4.8 million. Guadalajara is the capital. City in Mexico is Monterrey. In Nuevo León, the biggest city is Puebla City. Okay. So Puebla is not very good to look at, even more close to Mexico City, but to the west, around between 2 and 3 million. And then we have the 6th biggest, it's Tijuana. 1.8 million, this population. And 8 million in Guanajuato. And then we have Juárez, the north, in Chihuahua, in the 1.4 million Orion, between Coahuila and Durango. Actually, there are like Orion on the Coahuila side and Gómez Palacio on the Durango side of the border. And then we have Querétaro, 10th biggest city. Or when I say city, actually metropolitan area, so around the city. It's been really fun to read about Mexico, actually. Thank you so much for requesting map drawing videos, and there has been, all the time, just been a lot of requests about it. And thank you so much for the support, all the support I get on the comments and messages and patrons, supporters on everything. Appreciate it so much, yeah, for your comments and for supporting me with your nice words as well. So hope you enjoyed this video, and talk to you soon again.